Have you ever caught your reflection and felt like you were looking at a stranger? Not just unfamiliar, but someone wearing your face, living your life, speaking with your voice, while the real you watches from somewhere deep inside, waiting to be found. You know that quiet ache at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep because something feels off. You're replaying conversations where you said what they wanted to hear instead of what you actually thought. Your chest feels heavy. There's this disconnect between who you are inside and who you've become outside. It's like you're living behind glass. People see you, talk to you, think they know you, but they're only seeing the version you've learned to show them. The adapted self. The one who knows exactly what to say, how to fit in, how to avoid conflict. Meanwhile, the real you stays hidden, protected, but also trapped. What if I told you that this feeling has a name? What if everything you call yourself, your personality, your preferences, even what you think you want from life, is actually a protective shell you built so long ago? You've forgotten it's not really you? What if finding your true self isn't about becoming someone new, but about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be? Carl Jung saw through humanity's greatest lie, that we know who we are. While everyone else was teaching people to fit in better, Jung was exposing the devastating truth. You are not who you think you are. You're not even close. The privilege of a lifetime, Jung wrote, is to become who you truly are. But here's what they don't tell you about that quote. Jung spent his entire life studying people who died without ever meeting themselves. People exactly like you. He called it the false self, this character you've been playing since childhood. The good student, the reliable friend, the one who never causes problems. And every year you perfect this performance. The real you gets buried deeper, until one day you wake up and realize you have no idea who you actually are. You've become a ghost haunting your own life. This video is for you if you feel empty even when everything looks fine on the outside. For you who gets angry at yourself for not speaking up. Again. For you who feels exhausted from pretending to care about things that don't matter to you. For you who can't answer the simple question, what do you want? Because you honestly don't know anymore. You've tried everything. Self-help books, personality tests, asking friends who you really are. But nothing works because you're trying to discover someone who's been there all along, just buried under years of pleasing everyone else. This isn't another video about finding yourself. This is about stopping the lie that's killing you from the inside. You think your problem is that you don't know yourself. That's surface level. The real problem, you're terrified of who you might be without your mask. Think about it. When was the last time you expressed a real opinion that might upset someone? When did you last say no without explaining yourself? You can't remember, can you? Because somewhere along the way, you decided that being yourself was too dangerous. Maybe it started in childhood. That first time you showed your real feelings and got punished, or when you were different and got rejected. So you learned, real self equals pain, false self equals safety, and you've been choosing safety ever since. But here's where it gets dark. You're not just hiding your true self, you're actively murdering it. Every time you smile when you're angry, every time you agree when you disagree, every time you play your role, you're choosing the false self over the real one. You're the assassin of your own soul. And the patterns run deeper than you think. You don't just lie to others, you lie to yourself. You've convinced yourself you actually like the things you pretend to like. You actually want the life you're living. You've gaslit yourself so thoroughly, you can't tell what's real anymore. Jung called this the shadow. All the parts of yourself you've rejected, denied, hidden away. Your anger, your sexuality, your creativity, your wildness, your power. Everything that didn't fit the character you were playing got shoved into the darkness, and now that darkness is eating you alive from the inside. You know what's really keeping you trapped? It's not fear of judgment. It's not even fear of rejection. It's that you've invested so much in your false self, admitting it's fake would mean admitting you've wasted your entire life. So you double down. You perfect the performance. You become an even better fraud. Jung called the journey to your true self individuation. But don't mistake this for some gentle self-discovery. This is psychological death and rebirth. This is facing everything you've spent your life running from. Individuation starts with the most terrifying realization. Your ego, everything you think you are, is just a thin crust over an ocean of unconscious material. Your true self isn't something you create. It's something you uncover by destroying everything that isn't you. The first step, meeting your shadow. All those rejected parts of yourself didn't disappear. They went underground. They show up in your dreams, in your triggered reactions, in the people you can't stand. That person who infuriates you, they're showing you a disowned part of yourself. Here's how you start integrating your shadow. Notice your intense emotional reactions. When someone makes your blood boil, ask yourself, what quality in them am I not allowing in myself? That arrogant person? Maybe you've rejected your own confidence. That selfish person. Maybe you've never allowed yourself to prioritize your needs. But integration isn't about becoming these things. It's about owning that they exist within you. When you can say, yes, I have the capacity for selfishness, for anger, for all of it, suddenly, these forces stop controlling you from the shadows. You get to choose when and how to express them. The next layer is what Jung called the persona, the mask you wear in public. You need some persona to function in society. The problem is when you forget it's a mask. When you believe you are your job title, your relationship status, your social media profile. Start noting the gap between your inner experience and outer expression. That meeting where you nodded and smiled while internally screaming, that's your persona suffocating yourself. Begin allowing small moments of truth, not dramatic confessions. Just stop adding fake enthusiasm. Stop pretending to care about things you don't. Let some silence exist instead of filling it with performance. But knowing this is only half the battle. What comes next will show you exactly how to navigate the most dangerous part of this journey. If this message is speaking to you, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. Now comes the descent into what Jung called the collective unconscious. This is where your individual story connects to the universal human story. You start recognizing that your patterns aren't unique, they're archetypal. The orphan seeking belonging, the warrior fighting invisible battles, the martyr sacrificing themselves for others' approval. Which archetype are you living? More importantly, which one is living you? Because until you see the ancient pattern you're unconsciously following, you're not choosing your life. You're being lived by a story written before you were born. The transformation accelerates when you realize your false self isn't your enemy. It's a survival strategy that worked until it didn't. Thank it for protecting you. Then let it die. Not violently, but like a snake shedding skin that's become too tight. What emerges isn't a better you. It's the you that was always there, waiting. The one who doesn't need permission to exist, who doesn't perform for love. who can sit in a room full of people and not shapeshift to match their expectations. This is individuation, not becoming someone new, but no longer being someone false. It's trading the exhaustion of performance for the relief of truth, even if that truth isn't pretty, even if that truth isn't likable, because an ugly truth is worth more than a beautiful lie. Here's the final reframe that changes everything. Your false self isn't your failure, it's your chrysalis. It's what protected you until you were strong enough to emerge. Every year of performance was preparation. Every moment of self-betrayal was teaching you the price of abandoning yourself. Imagine who you become when you complete this work. You walk into a room, and you're not scanning for who you need to be. You're not adjusting your frequency to match others. You're a complete circuit, generating your own energy. People feel it. This person knows who they are, not arrogantly, just solidly, unapologetically present. You speak, and it's your actual voice, not the one designed to please, not the one calculated to avoid conflict. Your real voice, with all its edges and resonance. Some people won't like it, and for the first time in your life, that's not your problem. Your relationships transform. The energy vampires who fed on your performance, they disappear, because there's nothing false left for them to attach to. But the real connections, the ones who were waiting for you, not your mask, they deepen beyond anything you imagined possible. You stop exhausting yourself maintaining multiple versions. You stop the mental gymnastics of remembering who you're supposed to be with whom. There's just you, flawed, real, whole. The relief is indescribable. But here's what nobody tells you about finding your true self. It's not a destination. It's a commitment to keep choosing truth over performance every single day. To keep catching yourself when you slip back into character. To keep descending into your depths and bringing up what you find. The you that's been watching from behind the mask. That observer who's been screaming to get out. That's your true self. And it's not waiting for permission anymore. It's waiting for you to stop pretending you can't hear it. So here's my challenge. In the comments below, complete this sentence with ruthless honesty. The part of myself I've been hiding is, don't write what sounds good. Write what scares you. Write what you've never admitted to anyone. Because your true self doesn't emerge in safety. It emerges in truth. Find others in these comments who are ready to burn their false selves to the ground. You're not doing this alone. You're joining the ranks of those who chose truth over comfort, who chose to become who they truly are. Your false self is dying as you hear these words. The only question is, will you let it? Or will you close this video and go back to your performance? The choice was always yours. Jung just gave you the map. Now walk the territory.